Today on Screenshots, we're going to talk about the SAG Awards, where the panel's going to tell you the movies that we think are overrated and underrated, and we're going to review I Am Legend for you. Stick around. Welcome to Screenshots, all you crazy cats and kittens out there in TV land. I'm Joey Pelletier, your host for today. With me, as always, is Travis Barassa, Becca Doherty.
Hey, Joseph.
And Ben Barker.
Hey, Joey.
And now we're going to throw it over to Tim with movie news.
Thank you, Joey. Stemming from the Why God Why files, New Line Cinema is in plans to revamp the film that put them on the map. The studio is in works to remake A Nightmare on Elm Street, the Wes Craven horror about a serial killer named Freddy Krueger. No writing and directing team has been announced, but we can only hope that Michael Bay, Rob Zombie, and Zack Snyder all jump on board. Christian Brando, the troubled son of late actor Marlon Brando, died last week at the age of 49. The actor, who was better known for his domestic disputes with former wife Deborah Brando, died from pneumonia. And stemming from the Who Really Cares files, Sean Young, best known for her role in 1982's Blade Runner, has entered rehab. Something about celebrity rehab really grabs people's attention, especially when it's the first news you hear about a celebrity in 2 decades. And finally, coming from the What the Hell is Wrong with You People archives, Meet the Spartans opened last week to the #1 spot in America. Guys, please tell me the world isn't going to implode on itself. That's the news. Back to you guys.
And we're going to jump right into the topics. This last week, the Screen Actors Guild Awards were announced. The big winner, No Country for Old Men. Yeah, that's what I said.
Josh Brolin?
Not Josh Brolin. Javier Bardem won Best Supporting Actor.
Wow.
And
Really?
And it won the big award, Best Ensemble Cast.
All right, so do they all get little statues for that?
Probably.
Probably, they better. Josh Brolin's mustache deserves one.
I agree. Josh Brolin's mustache, criminally under-nominated.
I see Daniel Day-Lewis on there, lead actor.
Yeah.
Yep, for There Will Be Blood. Daniel Day-Lewis is pretty much a lock for, I think.
His mustache deserves a Lifetime Achievement Award. It's incredible in every movie he's ever in.
Between Gangs of
New York,
yes.
yeah.
Yep.
And his costumes. Gee.
I know that you guys don't care, but I think it's interesting that all of the major acting categories are pretty much a lock right now for the Oscars, with Daniel Day-Lewis, Julie Christie, Javier Bardem. The only one that's really up in the air is supporting actors. Or Gangs of New York at the SAG Awards.
You mean American Gangster.
American Gangster, yeah.
Sorry, what did I say?
Gangs of New York.
Oh.
You got Daniel Day-Lewis.
Daniel
on
Day-Lewis.
Yeah.
This weekend, the latest spoof movie, Meet the Spartans, opened to #1 at the box office, fulfilling the prophecy that will bring forth the apocalypse and damn mankind to hell on earth.
Let's take a look at that graphic.
Yeah.
It's Kevin Sorbo.
But in all seriousness, with date movie, epic movie, The Comebacks, and Meet the Spartans, that's like the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's close enough.
Yeah.
I think they're all riding in on pale horses. So.
Yeah, you guys have all seen the trailer. Why didn't you guys go see it this weekend?
Well, frankly, I didn't go see it because it made me sick to my stomach based on the
Agreed.
trailer. There were no jokes.
That's a good reason.
But it was still trying to be funny. That's
Okay.
my problem.
Any movie that actually makes fun of Britney Spears shaving her head is just doomed in my book. So when I saw that in the trailer, I was just like, man, that's pretty much the stupidest thing I've ever seen. So I was not going to go see it.
Yeah, but it made so much money. So it's not
It
it's
made
doomed for success.
It's doomed for success, but does that mean that it's going to be a classic and people are going to watch it for generations to come? I do not think so.
When I have kids and they're like 4 or 5 and they start watching movies, I'll probably show them the whole series of
Okay.
blank movies.
Well, I'd like to see how they turn out
They'll-
afterward.
Well, they'll be all right.
They'll start shaving their heads.
Ben, what did you think of the trailer?
Yeah, that Britney Spears scene, I almost had to look away. It's just kind of creeping me out. I never really cared. I mean, I didn't hate it, but 300 wasn't a real big film for me anyway. I mean, I liked it well enough, but it wasn't anything outstanding in my books, and so I guess a spoof on that isn't something that I'm really all excited to see.
#1 at the box office. It had a 2.6 on IMDb and a 3% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, yes, Rotten Tomatoes.
And it
tells no lies.
It opened at almost $20 million. Yeah, and just in case you're wondering, there is a movie in production, superhero movie, which is going to spoof superhero
Superheroes.
movies.
Let me ask you a question. You like playing football?
I love playing football.
For a special breed of men called leatherheads, the rules were simple.
You hit anybody that comes near him.
There were no rules.
Oh, I like him.
But when the game they loved was going under,
We're broke now. Our season just started.
time to pack it up and go home. Dodge Conley had the plan
It's your intention to legitimize professional football?
to build it back up.
Carter Rutherford leaves Princeton to play for the Duluth Bulldogs.
What? You ever hear of Carter Rutherford, the Bullet?
War hero football boy?
They've got a completely different style, Carter. How are you going to adjust to that?
Maybe they'll just kind of adjust to me.
So you're a sports writer.
Why not?
Hey, what's a girl doing in the press box?
Certain jobs are always going to be done by men.
Big strapping man?
Now, two of football's biggest stars will find themselves competing
The real story is the matchup between the Bullet and teammate Dodge Conley.
over the one woman
You're the kind of cocktail that comes on like sugar but gives you a kick in the head.
who can throw them for a loss.
You think you're the slickest operator in Duluth. But being the slickest operator in Duluth is kind of like being the world's tallest midget, if you ask me.
It's too bad we know each other so well. We might have gotten along.
Well, I'll live.
Alone.
A couple of plays we ran at Princeton.
A lot of our plays are pretty strong.
These are a lot like your plays, only a little more effective.
I've got some decisions to make.
In a minute.
Where were you two?
Out.
Nowhere.
This spring,
Game of professional football has come of age.
That means rules.
I mean, you never played any game clean.
let the games begin.
Throw one.
You're the injured party. You get the first punch.
Leatherheads,
Stay away from my right knee.
Watch my left shoulder.
Also my right hind quarter.
Well, you wouldn't punch me in the back, would you?
Let's just go for the face.
Me too, just hit me in the face.
Will Smith's latest blockbuster came out actually a couple months ago, but we're going to review it now anyways. I Am Legend, which is the story of Robert Neville, the military scientist who is the last man on Earth. Ben, what did you think of the movie?
I thought it was pretty good. There were a few things that I was a little skeptical of that didn't really fit with the movie, like the whole driving a perfectly clean, souped-up Mustang when there's nobody left in the city. Where is he getting these things from? But that was all just more or less putting a little bit of interest in the film, I think. It didn't really make any sense. One thing I noticed, too, is the actress Willow Smith, who played his daughter in the movie, is his real daughter. And just like The Pursuit of Happiness, that was kind of, it creates a good dynamic between the two actors, which helps the movement of the picture. Even though she played a really small role, I thought that was pretty cool that they put that in there. It's not the traditional helpless young woman walking into a dark alley that, some killer's waiting, but it was this military guy that seems to be taking care of himself and knows what he's doing, but it's you got these strange CGI creatures that weren't exactly realistic, if I must say, but
That was my biggest complaint too.
yeah,
Was
I
the
just,
CG monsters.
I honestly, from the previews, I said, well, they're not showing any bad guys or anything, so I have to think of what it is that they're going to have in this film, and it's probably going to be some lame, cheesy monster or zombies or something, and sure enough it was, but oh well. I mean, you can only do so much, I guess, with that particular story.
I definitely liked the movie. I thought it was very entertaining, and I agree with some of the points that Ben made about the CGI zombies. I felt that the screaming mimicked the Mummy, if anyone's seen those movies.
The creatures in the Mummy.
Yeah,
They made, like,
yeah.
the same noise.
They made the
Oh my
same
God,
exact
yeah.
noise, had the same way that they opened their mouth, and it just didn't seem to fit with like the whole zombie, the way I'd picture a zombie. But anyway, I definitely felt that this film was different than what was released around the same time. But I definitely felt that because of some of the limitations they had, it was very predictable. Like, you kind of knew what was going to happen to the characters and things like that. And that's pretty much what I felt about that.
I think Joey was saying to me earlier, too, that the dog's actually up for an Academy Award for this. He's been getting a lot of calls from other producers and stuff.
He was ignored at the SAG Awards, though, which is really sad.
Yeah, it was sad.
What did you think of the movie?
Well, I like Will Smith a lot, and I thought this was a really good role for him because he's been doing like the more mature roles lately, like Ali and Pursuit of Happiness, and something like for every role where he isn't doing something that's kind of thoughtful and thought-provoking, he's always got like that smug Fresh Prince, like cocky, like oh yeah, no one can stop me. But something about this movie was this is like a much more of like a lighthearted, fun movie because it's very like action-packed and everything, but he doesn't really get a chance to be like that smug, cocky self because he's alone. And that's something I thought was really interesting. He's dealing with mannequins in a department or in a video store, and his dog. So like the relationship between him and his dog, he still gets to have like that jokey, fun Will Smith self. But on the other side, you know that he's lonely and he misses his family and he misses other people. So I thought it was it was a cool role to see him play. Yeah. What'd you think?
Well, I thought it was half a great movie. Specifically the first half. I thought it kind of lost it towards the end because the first half's it's the way it's set up where it focuses a lot on him dealing with his loneliness with his dog and with the mannequins and things like that, and
which is really some of the best stuff in the movie.
Definitely. And the shots of deserted New York City with grass growing up in Central Park is really amazing, and it's really visually interesting. And just this stuff like that made the movie really interesting. But right around the second act, toward the end of the second act, it kind of started to fall apart and kind of devolved into a more cliche action flick. And I was kind of really disappointed in the ending. Yep. I had never. This is based on a book, and this is actually the third time this movie has been adapted. The first two being a Vincent Price movie, The Last Man on Earth, and a Charlton Heston movie, The Omega Man. And now this one, I Am Legend. Based on the book I Am Legend, I had never read it. I haven't read it still. But when I saw this movie, I said, I bet that's not the ending in the book. Because it just didn't feel like it fit with the rest of it. It just felt a little off to me.
It was a very Hollywood happy ending. Well,
semi-happy ending.
Semi-happy ending. Happy enough.
It's not something you could really make interesting with a book when you don't have something to look at. It's one of those endings that was definitely made for a motion picture where everyone's looking for an action-packed ending.
Yeah.
I wasn't entirely sure what was it, 3 years that he'd been alone for?
Yeah.
I think it was 3. How he had managed to not make a single mistake with these creatures in the entire time that he was there. You know, they never knew where he lived, yet they're crawling all over the city. I mean, he's driving this Mustang around like crazy around the road. Someone's got to know where he lives or where he comes from.
Well, he only does it during the day, though.
Right. But I mean, I thought it was kind of odd how he was made himself totally invincible to these creatures for a while.
That's a point that Joey made up right after we saw it. You said you really like the fact that he's a military scientist. That proves that he could probably survive on his own for a while.
Yeah.
Because he's got the brains and he's got the brawn, too.
Yeah, you make him a military scientist, and I think it lends credibility to the fact that he may have lasted this long, because if you just make him a plumber, you kind of question
But
that.
how does he have like fresh eggs and milk and bacon? I mean, how do you preserve stuff
eggs,
like
they
that?
were powdered.
He doesn't have eggs. Like
he has liquid eggs.
There's a reference made to powdered eggs.
Oh, powdered.
And there's a scene where he's like raiding a house, a deserted house, and he finds Spam. He's very excited about the Spam, which I thought was a nice little, which was a great moment where he's like, wow, real Spam, which is kind of
real Spam.
Yeah, it's funny because he's like mesmerized by the real Spam, but at the same time, in the back of your mind, you're like, this is how he's living right now.
Go ahead.
Well, just part of my problem was that he still had running water and electricity.
That was another point I was
He had 3 years to put that stuff together. He could have developed his own running water.
He had generators and stuff, but I don't know how long those generators would last. And the run, I just can't buy into. You said he had 3 years to rig up some kind of pump system, but I don't know.
He's a brilliant biologist. I don't know. I figured he might know something about. That's just my guess. He's not a plumber, but how would you guys rate the movie?
Ben, how would you rate it out of 10?
Let's try letter grade.
Letter grade.
With pluses and minuses.
Whoa.
Okay.
Let's give it a shot.
Mix it
I'd
up.
give it a B.
B?
Yep.
B.
B. I'd actually go as far as to say B+.
Really?
I think
Add
it's a
that extra
really
little
fun movie.
plus
I really
to
think
it.
so. It's not quite A grade, but it's a good action movie.
Yeah.
I'm gonna swing the other way and give it a B-. All right. It was good, but I think what it set itself up to be, it didn't live up to that, in my mind. But still, Will Smith. Will Smith can do no wrong.
Never disagree with me.
He's not a fan of the Mustang.
Well,
I guess not.
That is the screenshots review of I Am Legend. That's probably going to be out on DVD relatively soon, so you can look for that. And we're going to be right back with rental picks and the panel's most overrated and underrated movies. Stick around.
Mr. Stark, you've been called the Da Vinci of our time. What do you say to that?
Absolutely ridiculous. I don't paint.
What do you say to your other nickname, the Merchant of Death?
That's not bad.
They say the best weapon is one you never have to fire. I prefer the weapon you only need to fire once. That's how Dad did it. That's how America does it. And it's worked out pretty well so far. To peace.
Is it cool if I take a picture with you?
Yes, it's very cool. I don't want to see this on your MySpace page. Please, no gang signs. No, throw it up. I'm kidding.
You have till tomorrow to assemble my missile.
I should be dead already.
Unless it was for a reason.
I just finally know what I have to do.
That doesn't look like a missile. What are you building, Stark?
I'm working on something big.
If you don't tell me where they are hiding, then I have no choice but to shoot you and your cat. Do you have any last requests?
I was just... Skills. You are going to be the stuntman in the film I'm making for Screen Test.
I am the son of Rambo!
You want to be the son of Rambo?
Promise me you'll put these things out of your mind, William.
I'm not supposed to be friends with you. What? What's wrong with me? It's our religion. If they find out we're friends, then I'll be in the worst trouble ever. Well... Good morning, Lee Carter. Ready? Ready? 3, 2, 1, go! You all right? I'm all right, Lee Carter!
Are you that little boy making a film? Mm-hmm. Can we be in it, please?
I will be star of your movie.
Is this all right, Will?
It's perfect. It's my film. You said it was my film. He's driving the Jeep for the getaway scene. Well, if I'm not needed, I'll be taking my camera back then. Don't be stupid. It's not you, it's them. I hate them. Look, I'm sorry, okay? It was better when it was just us two. Son of Rainbow, take one. Click. Action! I've come to save you, Rambo! Hold on! Ready?
Let's make the movie!
Hurry up, people! We're losing light! Cut!
Welcome back. We all have movies that we think are overrated and some we think are underrated, so we're going to talk about that right now. Ben, what's an overrated movie that you
The most overrated film that jumped out to me was Super Troopers.
You didn't like
I'm
that
sorry.
one,
I know that I'm a very small part of the demographic that was targeted with this particular film, but I've seen it a couple of times and I just don't think it's funny. I can't get into it, and I know probably a lot of people hate me for saying that because a lot of people like that movie, but I just don't care for that particular type of humor. I don't really get anything out of it.
Well, I
it was just
I am the demographic for that movie, and I loved it.
Did you really?
It was just a little too obnoxious for me.
I thought it was pretty funny.
I think it's hilarious. I can watch it over and over again.
Yeah, I'm definitely not that way with this film. I laughed a couple of times, sure, there were some funny scenes, but this is not a movie I'd want to sit down and watch like 50 times like some people. But
And Becca, what do you have for overrated movies?
I definitely think that The Chronicles of Narnia was pretty overrated, and it's hard because I grew up reading those books, and because there were multiple versions that were released, it was just really hard to. What are you doing?
You didn't like Chronicles of Narnia?
I didn't like the new version. I saw
so
the old
good.
ones that
the
BBC
old one,
did.
man, the witch was creepy and
Yeah.
man, she was scary. That scared the
Yes,
crap out of me.
it
when I was
didn't
little.
need
No,
any.
not the
Stuff's
cartoon.
for pussies.
No, they
Yeah,
had
it was
they
so
have an
good.
older version that was put out by BBC, and it's really good. And
Yeah.
the new one just did not even come close to that. So I just was not impressed. I felt it was overrated. And also on a completely different note, Ace Ventura movies. I'm sorry, just don't like them.
I think Jim Carrey's best work, period, and one of the best
No.
comedic performances ever.
No.
Travis, what do you have for overrated movies?
Everyone probably on the planet's gonna hate me for this, but I don't care for Lord of the Rings, any of them.
Really?
Didn't like them. I thought they were long and boring. I don't like elves. I don't like movies about hobbits. And
You ever read the books or anything? Or?
I read The Hobbit,
Yeah.
but yeah.
The Hobbit
Which,
was actually
which doesn't make
supposed to be
sense because I was like a big D&D nerd in high school. I should love this crap. I don't know. I guess it's just.
I've seen the first one, and it's really well crafted, and the cinematography is
guess.
great. But the acting is pretty poor, and they're really long, and not that much happens for quite a while.
I'm glad someone is with me on that.
And I haven't jumped out to. I'm gonna watch the next two, but I haven't jumped out to watch them because I don't have that kind of time on my hands.
I have Two Towers.
I got Fellowship on VHS. Party at my place tonight.
All right, I got a couple of overrated movies here. I just want to mention all of the Harry Potter movies are overrated. I haven't liked really any of those. Tim Burton's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I didn't particularly like it that much. I just thought it failed. And my worst one is A Clockwork Orange, which is kind of the which is like the movie buffs, like regarded as one of the best movies ever.
Yeah,
And
let
like
me tell you.
Stanley Kubrick,
Everyone in the back room is
Stanley
so
Kubrick
pissed at
is
you right
probably
now.
Stanley Kubrick is like a genius. I did not think A Clockwork Orange was a good movie.
Wow.
I didn't.
That was the movie that made me love movies. I think you suck right now. I hate you. And I can't believe that I am on a show reviewing movies with a guy who doesn't like that movie.
Go see it.
I just.
Oh.
I didn't care. I didn't care about that movie didn't make me care about any of the characters in it. It's okay.
No, it's cool. It's cool, whatever.
So now we're going to move on to movies that we think are underrated, which should be equally as fun. Ben, what do you got for us for underrated?
For underrated, I had Chocolat with Johnny Depp, Judi Dench, and my gosh, I'm forgetting her name, Juliette Binoche, I think. That wasn't, I mean, that was nominated for 5 Academy Awards, but looking at reviews and ratings online at like movie sites like IMDb, really didn't have great ratings for it. I mean, it was 6. Let's see, I wrote some of them down. IMDb gave it a 7.3 out of 10. Netflix a 4 out of 5. Rotten Tomatoes a 62%. I thought this, I would definitely, if I were rating this movie, I'd give it a 10 out of 10. I thought this movie was fabulous, just absolutely superb. Not only in acting, but it was a great story, great cinematography. Just everything was fabulous about it. I loved this film.
Becca, what have you got for underrated?
Well, actually, it's one that you and I were talking about the other day. It's Eternal Sunshine for the Spotless Mind, one of the few Jim Carrey movies that I actually enjoy. And the reason why I think it's a little underrated is because it's kind of confusing for people to understand its editing style, and the continuity can seem a little bit choppy, but I definitely think that it was well made, and I really enjoyed the story, and the actors were amazing in it, and just everything about it I really, really enjoyed. I probably would give it a 10 out of 10.
Something really cool about that movie is that they would pull apart sets and it would break into a different set.
Yeah.
And that's how they would cut between scenes on a lot of times.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
the movie that I want to talk about is Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, where they do the same thing. That was directed by George Clooney, and there's a scene where we focus on the main character and spin around, and as it spins around, the set behind him becomes another set, and it changes scenes, and it was really incredible. It's a little bit slow, but the story itself is about Chuck Barris, the guy that created the dating game, and it's really funny. And he becomes a hitman, which probably didn't happen in real life, but it's funny. So.
But supposedly, I mean, he sticks to his story.
He still
solid.
sticks to it.
That was his autobiography.
Yep. And I read it, and it's really, really funny.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really entertaining movie.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of really great lines in that, and I could watch, and the actor's name escapes me now, but he plays Chuck Barris in the movie. I could watch him dance forever because
I can't think of his name. I'm gonna pop it up right here.
Yeah, it's Sam something.
Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell.
There we go.
There we go. There it is. For underrated, I did a review of American Psycho. That's probably going to be up eventually.
I think that it's still on the air yet.
Is it? Is it on the air now? Well, you can check that out. I think that's a great movie. Insomnia, one of Christopher Nolan's movies.
Insomnia.
Al Pacino.
Look here, you're
Williams.
Insomnia. What?
You need to calm down.
No.
Oh, and two more that I just want to mention. Jackie Brown and Unbreakable are 2 movies, Tarantino movie and an M. Night Shyamalan movie that I think are really good but get overshadowed by things like Pulp Fiction.
Good call.
And The Sixth Sense.
Good call.
And then another one is Lady in the Water. M. Night Shyamalan's last movie. I thought it was really interesting, a really different movie, original, and really entertaining. And Paul Giamatti is cool too. I like him.
You're a good man.
No.
But yeah.
I use a good
really
mind.
enjoyed that.
No. Lady in the Water is horrible.
I disagree. I thought it was good. What did you guys think of it? Did you see it?
Didn't see it.
No, I didn't want to see it.
I'll watch movies about ladies.
Yeah.
That's the panel's picks for underrated and overrated. So now we're going to just give you our rental picks for this week. Ben?
I recently saw Rear Window, Alfred Hitchcock with Jimmy Stewart. That was a fabulous movie I'd never seen before. I would definitely recommend it.
I would definitely recommend Last King of Scotland. It was a really good movie, and it has James McAvoy in it. You can't go wrong with James McAvoy, so go rent it.
Okay.
I'm going to recommend Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. Sam Rockwell, George Clooney, who also appears in the movie as a dude. I'm not going to say who, but you'll find out.
Relax, don't do it when you want to go to.
I'm going to go ahead and say one of my underrated, Unbreakable. Bruce Willis is kind of like a superhero in a very realistic way.
Give it away.
And I like it. It's a really good movie.
When you want to come.
And that's going to do it for us on Screenshots. I'd like to thank Ben Barker, Becca Doherty, Travis Barassa, and myself for being here today. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, walk hard, bold, hard,
I think that would be the first thing I would do if I was trapped in a city. I would just start stealing DVDs and arriving.